Yeah. So rock along, big man. Keep going.
I like these wider.
It's nice show. Barricades aren't just that chocolate. Barricade
No. The county is responsible for putting new rock down every 5 years. They're going to do that tomorrow, just so you know. And they're going to blade it. And then after that, it's our responsibility. So there's the 2080. Okay. It's 1,300 feet, so that's awesome. Yeah, that's the 2080, and I also put that in the ticket, and I put it complete, because they're going to say.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Vernon City Council. And the first item on the agenda is to approve the agenda. We call to order. And, any changes from the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Paul. Mark. Moved and seconded to approve the agenda as offered. Ready to vote on that? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? The motion carries. Communications. Beginning the communications section with public comment for any item that's not on the agenda. Is there anyone here to speak to anything that's not on the agenda? I know there are plenty that will be here for agenda items, but hearing no one from the public, can you tell if anybody tuning in?
I already admitted it.
No, nothing there? Okay, sounds good. Next three items on the communications agenda are people that asked to speak to council. And I thought this is the best way to do it, a front part of the meeting. Just as we did a couple of meetings ago when we had Representative Golding here, we did not consider that need to be limited to 5 minutes or anything like that. But these are speakers that have reached out to me for a variety of reasons, or I reached out to one of them, I think, on a variety of different topics. And the first one is Madeleine Gilmore with Linn County Public Health, and I think we'll let you guys do it.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Madeleine Gilmore, and I'm an epidemiologist with Linn County Public Health. I serve as the capacity coordinator for our Overdose Data to Action to States grant, or OD2AS grant. Today I'd like to spend a few minutes talking to you about what that project is, why it's important here in Linn County, some of the work that we've already accomplished, and then how community partnerships can help better support individuals and families affected by substances. So what exactly is OD2AS? OD2AS is a grant funded by the CDC and administered through Iowa through the Iowa Department of Health and Human Services. It's rich. The goal of the grant is to reduce overdose deaths by using local data to guide community action. One of the biggest strengths of this project is that it isn't built around assumptions. Instead, we're asking, what are we seeing here in Linn County? Where are the needs? What are the opportunities for improvement? And what strategies are working? The work centers around 4 major areas. First, collecting and analyzing data so that we can understand local trends. Second, using that information to develop prevention strategies. Third, supporting people in recovery by helping connect them with services and resources. And finally, building strong partnerships across healthcare, public safety, community organizations, and local governments. No single organization can solve this issue alone, so collaboration is really at the heart of everything that we do. Looking at our local data helps explain why this work remains so important. Between 2021 and 2024, Linn County experienced 114 overdose deaths. When we looked more closely at these deaths, we found that 68% of these deaths involved an opioid and 61% involved a stimulant. Perhaps even more importantly, nearly 40% involved both an opioid and a stimulant at the same time. This tells us that polysubstance use, or using more than one substance at the same time, is increasingly common. That means prevention and response efforts can't focus on just one substance. We also found that deaths involving methamphetamine increased by nearly 15% when comparing recent years to previous reporting periods. These numbers represent more than just statistics. Every one of those deaths represents a family, friends, coworkers, classmates, and neighbors whose lives were affected. Understanding these trends helps us make informed decisions about where to focus our efforts and how best to support our community. So our grant team is made up of 4 positions that work together to address this issue from different angles. Megan Myers, who's our FAST coordinator, leads our public health and safety team. This group brings together healthcare providers, law enforcement, emergency medical services, public health, and community organizations to coordinate prevention efforts and share information. Megan is also our academic detailer, who works directly with healthcare providers. They provide evidence-based education on prescribing practices, overdose prevention, and emerging trends while building strong relationships with the healthcare systems in our area. As capacity coordinator, my role is a little different. I focus on building partnerships through the community and identifying gaps in services. I also educate organizations about local overdose trends and help strengthen our community's ability to respond. Much of my work involves connecting people and organizations that don't really work together much, so it's an interesting role to be in. Finally, Charles Morgan is our peer recovery coach, and they provide one-on-one support to individuals working towards recovery. I'll talk a little bit more about that role in the next slide because it's one of the most unique parts of our project. While each of these positions is a different focus, we work very closely together because addressing substance abuse requires a coordinated community response. As I mentioned, one of the most unique aspects of our project is the peer recovery coach. What makes peer recovery different is that it's built on lived experience. Our peer recovery coach has personally navigated recovery and uses that experience to build trust and connect with people in a way that's often difficult for traditional systems. Recovery is rarely a straight path, and having someone who understands those challenges can make a meaningful difference. The peer recovery coach helps individuals identify their own goals, navigate available services, and stay engaged in recovery over time. That support might include helping someone access treatment, find stable housing, connect with employment resources, or simply providing encouragement and accountability as they move forward. It's also important to understand that peer recovery coaches do not replace healthcare providers. They aren't therapists, they don't diagnose conditions, and they don't provide clinical treatment. Instead, they complement those services by offering practical guidance and ongoing support. Our peer recovery coach is certified through the Connecticut Community for Addiction Recovery, or CFAR, which provides nationally recognized training and standards for ethical, effective peer support. Since this project began, we've been able to accomplish several meaningful initiatives throughout Linn County. One visible example of this is the installation of 7 naloxone vending machines across the county. These machines provide free access to naloxone, a medication that can reverse an opioid overdose, helping increase access for anyone who may need it. We have also completed a tri-ethnic community readiness assessment, which gathered input from community leaders representing multiple sectors. This helped us better understand community strengths, challenges, and opportunities for future collaboration. Another exciting accomplishment has been integrating our peer recovery coach into overdose response efforts with the CRPD. Following an overdose response, individuals can now be connected more quickly with someone who understands recovery and can help them navigate the available services. We've also partnered with local hospitals to conduct chart audits. The purpose of this isn't to evaluate the providers, but to identify opportunities to improve referrals, follow-up care, and connections to recovery resources after someone experiences an overdose. Beyond those initiatives, our team regularly participates in community outreach events, educational presentations, and prevention activities throughout Linn County to increase awareness and connect people to those available resources. I'm going to pass it over to Megan really quick to talk about the vending machines.
Thank you.
So the purpose of the vending machines is to increase access to naloxone throughout the county. If you go to any Target or CVS, Walgreens, you're going to pay $45 for 1 box of Narcan. And our goal was to make this medication more accessible to everyone in the community. So through our vending machine program, this, along with the other supplies I'll talk about, is all free to community members. This is paid for through Linn County opioid settlement dollars, not our taxpayer dollars. There are 7 Narcan vending machines throughout the county. I'll talk about the one most pertinent to you guys, the one that's located at Gary's Place. These were installed in June of 2024. Since they were installed, this machine has given out 372 boxes of Narcan. There's 2 doses in each box. 1,640 condom packs. There's 10 condoms in each pack. 240 hygiene kits. There's a brush, toothbrush, toothpaste, bar of soap. 210 tampon packs with 4 tampons in each. 100 fit packs, which are personal sharps containers. 60 gun locks, which we just added this past December. And 350 wound care kits with gauze, gloves, ibuprofen, and cream for wounds.
So why does all of this matter? Substance use affects far more than the individual experiencing it. It impacts families, it impacts schools, it impacts healthcare systems, law enforcement, employers, emergency responders, and communities as a whole. When people receive support earlier, they're more likely to connect with services before a crisis escalates. When organizations work together instead of independently, people are less likely to fall through the cracks. Recovery support also helps reduce repeated emergency department visits, emergency responses, and other costly crises that affect the entire community. Ultimately, investing in prevention, education, and recovery isn't just about responding to overdoses. It's about building a healthier, safer, and more resilient community for everyone. So, what role can you play? One of the simplest ways to support this work is by helping share information and local resources with the people that you serve. Whether that's residents, students, families, or staff, making people aware of available resources can make a real difference. Another way to help is by partnering with Linn County Public Health on educational opportunities. We're always happy to provide presentations like this, participate in community events, or offer information on local trends and available resources. You can also help reduce stigma by encouraging conversations that recognize substance use as a health issue, and by promoting recovery as something that is possible. When people feel comfortable asking for help, they're more likely to seek support before a crisis occurs. Finally, we encourage you to stay connected with local prevention and recovery efforts. Whether that's attending meetings, sharing feedback, or simply staying informed, community involvement helps us better understand local needs and coordinate our efforts. The more that we work together, the better equipped we are to support individuals and families across Linn County. For this presentation, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys have if there's time.
We'll make time. Thanks for including the figures from Gary. And I was always very curious about that, and the recent addition of the gun locks, I was aware of that. A lot of them are out already. Several months ago, I received some information from a vendor that wanted to sell some of the services, and I think I passed this on to Jason to see, we've got this service provided by Public Health. How are we doing in overdose area? And the answer was that there haven't been many instances, or any instances, or ever been pretty lucky. And probably because there's been, I don't know how many packs, 2 packs of Maxilla or whatever went out. But,
I also personally deliver Narcan to the student nurse or the nurse at Cornell. So they have it on campus as well.
That's separate from this inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do a similar presentation like this to Cornell? This is very informative. Thanks.
We don't do a presentation like this to Cornell, but we go there and offer various services like STI testing. We'll hand out Narcan, condoms, things like that there. So they know about the work that we're doing, and we get a little bit of it there.
Good.
Yeah.
So if you got a Narcan, how long would it last for?
So Narcan if you gave it to a person who experienced an overdose, takes about 2 minutes to work. And then if that doesn't work, you can give the second dose. That's why there's two doses in there, all while you're calling 911, because Narcan lasts about 30 minutes, and then a person can overdose again if there's still a lot of opioids in their system. So it is still important to call 911 and get medical attention. It doesn't solve the whole issue. It's still important to be seen by an emergency room.
But if you get the box, just have it on hand.
The
What's
expiration
shelf life?
about 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you. For
Yes, sorry.
No, that was all good information. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it. I haven't investigated the facility areas, but that it is beyond the Narcan,
Mm-hmm.
especially the inclusion of the gun locks. So, thank you.
And thank you for the whole approach to the, especially with the peer follow up with peer recovery. That's something I've been interested in getting into. And some form of that.
Yeah, we can let.
Or, I mean, if you don't mind, can I tell you what a peer recovery coach is in a little more detail? It'll be
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely. Yeah.
So here's the peer part, guys. I spent 12 years using pain pills and heroin and selling it. I spent 3 years using and selling methamphetamine. I lost an entire marriage, house, career. I used to work for Microsoft before this. Sold cars. I lost all that. I caught 4 felonies. I have a 20-year suspended prison sentence. I'm not off probation until December. Yet I am standing in front of you today, at least moderately professionally, right? I found a way to recover. I found a way to recover through Crush. It's a community recovery center located in Cedar Rapids. We do provide services to anybody in Linn County. We are 100% grant funded, so we'll never ask you for a dime. A peer recovery coach is someone who has that lived experience. I know what it's like to lose everything. I know what it's like to be an addict. I know what it's like to recover. And I am willing to meet with somebody once a week, twice a week for an hour, to find whatever resources they need, whether it's inpatient, outpatient treatment, groups for people that are religious, groups for people that aren't religious, and I will find a way to walk next to you through your recovery path and find the resources that you need. I get a lot of people that are unhoused, a lot of people coming into the criminal justice system are out of it. They need IDs, social security cards, bus passes, housing, grants for clothing, food assistance. I have resources to find all of that. And a lot of that is because of the partnership with Linn County. I am primarily funded in sense as a contractor for Linn County, right? I am just employed through Crush. Our community recovery center is located at 1260 2nd Avenue downtown in Cedar Rapids, but again, we do outreach all over the place. I've got a bunch of information I'm going to leave at the back, a lot of my business cards, our group support, a pamphlet that has my entire team on it, and then like our newsletter, and then a concert that we have coming up, a Be Brave concert. It is a sober concert. So it's just something that if you want to bring the family to and see what we're about, you can. It's going up here shortly. But again, at any time, if you know somebody that needs recovery services and they want access to a peer recovery coach, we're free. You can just give them my card. I like to tell people, take one for you, take one for your friend. But we will help people at any time.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
And thanks again for doing that, because I think that is something that is going to help so many people, and it does.
Thank you for talking to us, guys. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you for your presentation.
And thank you for the information.
Passing the 6.
Next item after public health is
Keep going that way.
Nicole Alexander from Southeast Linn, and I asked Nicole to speak to us, and probably have some board members here as well. But what precipitated the discussion was, my request was that we've been notified by our Linn County Board of Supervisors that they are holding up on, I believe, $40,000 towards Main Street cities in Linn County. And Mount Vernon is one of those, Main Street, one of those 3. So I think it affects us to the tune of $13,000. And this is for CDG funding. And they made that decision, and they want to see, check it out. So that is a very real thing that's hitting us on a county level, and it's rolling downhill here. And Southeast Linn has a long reputation, going back to the Bud Linn days, of being a great value, a great service to the community. And then we support them to a pretty healthy tune here. We'd like to support them in the future as we work on future budgets, but wanted to get an update about how you are reacting to challenges that you have financially, and what's going on in Southeast Linn. All yours.
Thanks, Tom. I really appreciate the invitation and the chance to talk about the value of your investment in our organization. I do have Gary Scott and Mary Young here with me, a couple of our board members who are Mount Vernon residents. And the timing's perfect because today is National Nonprofit Day. So shout out to all of our wonderful nonprofits here in the community. So they handed around a couple of handouts just so you don't have to remember everything I say. But a couple of weeks ago I was in Des Moines for the Iowa Hunger Summit. And former Governor Bill Sack was talking about inspiring people to work on change for big issues like hunger. And he talked about how during Prohibition there were 2 main groups fighting to keep Prohibition in place. So there were the Baptists, who were motivated by their religion, their morality, and there were the bootleggers, who had slightly different motivations, right? So he emphasized the importance of talking to the different motivations for solving our big problems, right? So I'm going to start out with kind of that bootlegger stuff instead of the usual thing you hear from me about all the great work that we do. So in FY26, the city of Mount Vernon contributed $21,000 to Southeast Linn. So we manage scholarships for the pool passes, for the LBC memberships, and Parks and Rec programs. And through our crisis assistance, we also provide funds to families struggling to pay water bills. So for all those programs, we wrote checks back to the city of Mount Vernon for over $16,000. So 78% of that funding that you provide to us went directly back to Mount Vernon city programs. So a large portion of your contribution to us is essentially pass-through money that we're providing administrative services for, so that your employees don't have to manage a scholarship program, determine who's eligible, and do all of that. Overall, for our organization, as Tom mentioned, these financial challenging times, our expenses have increased 81% in the last 4 years. So in that time frame, your donation to us has increased 5%. So back 4 years ago, your contribution covered 13% of our expenses. Last year, it covered just 8%. And in that time frame, we've added a lot of services: the summer meals program, monthly community dinner, the Cornell Pantry, and transportation for Cornell students. And the number of people using our services has grown rapidly. So essentially, we're providing more value to the community for a lot less funding. Also with the LBC, when the LBC was started, we were approached by the city to manage a scholarship program because we already had that relationship for the pool passes. So we were happy to do that, but that is something that has been a financial burden over time. So in the time that the facility has existed, we've spent $17,000 some on scholarships and received $10,000 in funding from the city. So there's some deficit there over time. So back to that annual contribution. So if you subtract those pass-through funds, the city is essentially investing an additional $4,700 in Southeast Linn program. So what are you getting back for that money? Our organization is really very unique. I don't talk to many other places that have the variety of social services that we have that are located in a community of this size. And I am saying community broadly. Yes, we're located in Lisbon, but we serve the Mount Vernon-Lisbon community and beyond. On that sheet, you'll see a list of all of our programs. We have the food pantry, the second food pantry at Cornell, community gardens, freestyle clothing closet, crisis assistance, Meals on Wheels, senior dining and activities, senior transportation, our new RAM Rides program providing rides for Cornell students, summer enrichment and early out activities, Operation Backpack food bags during the school year, free school supplies, all the scholarships I mentioned before, holiday food boxes, adopt a family gifts, summer meals, and those monthly community dinners. So we're doing a lot of things. And then even beyond those direct services, we serve as a connection point to resources and programs for other agencies. For example, Linn County Public Health and Crush, that were just here, were both at our community fair event at Sauerkraut Days, handing out information to the community. We're seen as a leader in the area in the nonprofit sector and often asked to be the voice of the non-metro nonprofits, so bringing that voice of Mount Vernon and Lisbon residents to the broader nonprofit sector. Some examples of that: we're a United Way agency, and I'm currently working with them on a pilot program for better food system data collection throughout the food pantry in our area. I chair an advisory committee for the Greater Cedar Rapids Community Foundation. We're a HACAP partner, and they see us as a leader among their pantries. We're a partner of Horizons, their Lines for Equitable Housing. I'm on the board for the Housing Fund for Linn County. I'm also on the board for the Iowa Hunger Coalition statewide advocacy group. And we're in partnership with the city of Ely, doing monthly food delivery to them. We're a part of the Linn County Pantry Partners Group and the Cedar-Jones County Pantry Association, because we see people from all of those counties using our food pantry. So we have a lot of good connections, and we're able to be that voice for our community in all of those rooms and all of those places. We also lead collaboration here in town with our churches, our schools, with Cornell, with service organizations for things like our holiday program and our summer meals, to connect all of those different groups wanting to do good work here in the community. So we're not just a little place in Lisbon, we're well connected and working at the county and regional and even state level. But we're doing all this work in a very challenging time. Federal and state changes to programs such as the USDA and SNAP have had a devastating impact on Iowans facing hunger. So more and more people are turning to programs like ours for support. In FY25, just under 800 people used our food pantry. In FY26, it was over 1,300. That's a 75% increase in 1 year. Over the last 4 years, our costs to buy food for the pantry have increased 153%. So we're now spending more than $40,000 a year just to buy food, in addition to the food that's donated to the pantry. So this is not unique to our organization. These are challenges that lots of organizations are facing. The ALICE report that was recently released by United Way tracks Iowans who are asset limited, income constrained, but employed. So these are working Iowans who can't afford a basic needs budget. And the newest report is that's 1 in 3 Iowans. So we know that's a lot of our neighbors who are needing supports like ours. We also know from Feeding America data that 1 in 6 Iowa children are food insecure. So those are the big system problems that we're trying to fight every day. And all of the trends point to more people needing our services in the next few years. So we need to have consistent funding to have the capacity to continue to meet those needs. Our staff is small, so myself and one other full-time employee and 2 part-time employees. We have a very dedicated, talented professional staff, but we don't even have the ability to provide benefits or to pay for all the staffing hours that we really need. So we need to build that capacity to keep meeting needs. And we've also, if you've been in our building, you can see that we've really outgrown our current space. So facility needs long-term are a big challenge for us. But it's working towards a capital campaign can be hard when our funding is so variable. So some of the funding that we've been able to rely on most consistently over the years is from you and from Lisbon City Council. Overall, 60% of our funding comes just from individual donations, which means that we have an amazingly generous community, but it's also hard to plan long-term when you don't know what that's going to look like year to year. So on your handout, you'll see some of the highlights of the work that we do. I would be here all night if I tried to list it all, but a couple I want to point out specifically. I know sometimes there's a perception that there's not a lot of people in Mount Vernon who need our services, but 1 in 10 Mount Vernon residents used our food pantry last year, so we know they're there. And a couple weeks ago, we had our school supply distribution, and 94 Mount Vernon students got free school supplies and backpacks for us. So those are just a couple of examples of how Mount Vernon residents directly benefit from the services that we provide. So I'm going to wrap up with a little bit of the Baptist argument too. So not just the numbers, but we believe food is a human right, and we're feeding Mount Vernon families every day, filling tables that would otherwise be empty. We're equipping people to be more stable, helping them so they can keep their lights on or pay their rent in a moment of crisis. We provide clothing, cleats for soccer, baseball, pants, Mount Vernon t-shirts so kids can show their school pride. We're a place of safety for people who are in transition and don't know where else to turn. And we're a place that gardeners can bring their extra cucumbers when their neighbors get tired of finding them on their porch. And we're a place where people of all ages can volunteer, learn new skills, meet new people. Parents and grandparents can bring their kids to teach them the value of giving back. And for the people who do have the privilege of extra funds and look around and feel hopeless about all that's happening in the world, we're a place that they can make a donation and know that it made a real difference in the lives of their neighbors. As a community, we all benefit when our neighbors have their basic needs met and have a place to build stronger community connections. Our vision is that we aspire to be a connected community where every person thrives. And with your support, we hope to continue that for years to come. That's what I have. What questions do you have for me?
Well, I'd like to thank you for everything you do, as always. And if you haven't had the chance to meet Nicole or anything, she's one of the best people that I've ever met. She's just what she does with Southeast Linn is amazing. Our town is much better for it, and she's just one of the best leaders I've encountered in any job I've ever had, in any field I've ever been in. She's just the leader that I've ever wanted. So,
well, thank you. I do it with a great team.
Yeah, I just want to lead off with that and say thank you for pulling all this together.
One of your newer programs are the involvements with Cornell, with Food Pantry and the Rise. Craig and I have a meeting up there in another week or so. How is that taking off? It's relatively new.
Yeah, so we started the pantry in partnership with the health services on campus last November. And we've had 143 different students use the pantry in that time frame, including some this summer who were there doing internships this summer. And so it's been going really well, and the students do the volunteering to run the pantry, so we manage it, we teach them food safety, we provide the inventory, and then they run the pantry shifts there, so it's been a really great partnership. And then that partnership had started, and Campus Safety came to us and said, hey, we see you're doing this partnership, can we partner on transportation? Because this is a gap that we're seeing for a lot of our students. So that's been really wonderful that the our volunteer community members really enjoy getting to know the students, giving them a ride to the airport or to the doctor's office, or even the half-price bookstore to sell their books back, or things like that. So.
Do you track that number by chance?
We do. I believe it's been, off the top of my head, I think it's about 60 rides that we've provided so far, and that program started in the spring. So it'll really kind of get going with this school year. It'll be the first, it was kind of just a little taste of it in the spring. So.
Thank you. There, any other questions or comments?
Really good to hear about the pass-through from the funds that we do provide that come directly back to Mount Vernon. I echo what Mark said, deep bow to you, your team, your board.
I don't want to do any rivalries or anything, but we do get funding from Lisbon, and we don't have any pass-throughs for them. So their funding is not going back into Lisbon city funds, so proportionately. And open invitation anytime to come visit us, get a tour, learn more, get any questions answered, or have us come and speak to any other meeting or group.
Where are conversations about relocation?
So our board has toured the Coralville Pantry, and tomorrow actually we're going to tour the North Liberty Pantry. They both did capital campaigns in the last 5 years. So learning from what they've learned, and just at the point of just kind of a feasibility survey to try to test. We're in very early stages, but we know there's much more we can do with more space.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Nicole. Thanks for coming. Next, we've got IaDOT Department of Transportation representatives on the Highway 1 Reconstruction project. And I know we've got Dave and Linn with V&K. I don't know how you're going to handle this, but it looks like Sam, if you could just introduce yourself and your title into the mic, and start with that.
I'm Sam Shea. I'm with the IaDOT. I'm the District Transportation Planner here in District 6, which is where you guys are located. I'm here to discuss with you guys, just kind of let you know what the current status is on the Highway 1 project. This is a project that's going to start just north of the roundabout, go all the way through town on Highway 1, through just the roundabout to railroad tracks. We're going to reconstruct a good bit of that road completely. Some of the roads will just be patched. If you've driven it, you can tell the parts that just need patched and the parts that need to be reconstructed.
Sorry, Sam.
Can you speak over, maybe turn sort of sideways?
Yeah, I thought the microphone.
Is it green?
No, it was not green.
There we go. Yeah.
Sorry, is this better?
No. Sorry. Speak right in.
It's okay. My voice usually carries. I was just facing them, not facing you. Sorry. So the project is to reconstruct most of Highway 1 from north of the roundabout to about the railroad tracks. There is part of that we'll be doing patching instead of full reconstruction. If you've driven it, then you know where we're going to reconstruct and where we're going to patch. It's pretty obvious. The pavement is in good shape in some places. It just needs a little work. In other places, it's pretty bad. We're not acquiring any complete right-of-way. We are needing temporary easement for the purpose of constructing sidewalks. We're going to build sidewalks or reconstruct the existing sidewalks where they are, 5-foot sidewalks. to meet ADA compliance with curb ramps and curb cuts. And for more specific details on the project, we've got Leland here with Beanstra and Kim, your consulting engineer, who can help answer those.
Thank you, Sam.
I'm Leland Belding from Beanstra and Kim, and I'm the design engineer for this. I did send a PDF to the city. Hey, Chris?
Yeah, I'm just looking right now.
Hold on.
All right. So I've got a PDF showing the plan. I just thought I'd kind of talk through it. Big picture, we're reconstructing fully from basically Gary's driveway to 3rd. And then the pavement was redone, I think in the 90s. It's in pretty good shape. So up, over the hill, down the hill to 3rd again. That'll all be patching. We're redoing, all the sidewalk would get redone, except at the very top where that was just redone with the traffic signal project. What was that, 10 years ago, 7 years ago? And then the full reconstruction picks up again 3rd and then goes up to just outside of Railroad right away. We're coordinating with the city to do some of the utility fixes that need to occur. Most of the water mains out of the way. We do have some sanitary manhole, one of those has to be fixed. But there is a stretch on the north part where it's old clay, and recently there was a collapse of the service, so we'll be replacing that piece. The detour that everybody's interested in, so the DOT, they do their detours highway to highway. So the big detour is 30, 13, 151. Internally, there really won't be any detours. We're going to try to phase it so that we'll construct, we'll probably do the north part first, since that's got the sanitary sewer that we want to address. We'll take care of that northern piece to Cass, so that people have a way to get around, and then kind of knock out that middle from Cass down to 3rd. And then on the south end, we'll do up to Palisades, try to get, so 7th Palisades, get that so people can loop around, and then do the middle piece. Most of it is kind of going back to the same spot. So where you're seeing a curb or the back of the sidewalk, that's where it's going. The sidewalks are going to widen from 4 to 5 feet, but they're widening towards the street. So most of the easements are just, permission just to, step over to build the sidewalk. The easement negotiations, we've got 90 total, and I think 70 of them are done. And then I think there's going to be another probably 10 that are going to happen pretty quick, maybe more than that. So everybody's been contacted on the property, whose property is affected. Down at Palisades right now, it's pretty wide, so that piece from Gary's to Palisades, there's no curb, so that's going back as curb. The sidewalk on the east side, which is down the hill, will be trail width, like in front of the bank, and then that's going to come up towards the side of the road. Then it'll end right there at 7th, and then, in future time, whenever. Extending that trail will be a whole different thing. And then we're going to narrow up, so it'll be a 3-lane section, and then it'll narrow down at the intersection. Then north of there, it'll be the kind of what the width is right now the whole way. So the homes on the east side, right now that sidewalk is right up on the curb. That curb line is going to move over, so there's going to be more green space there. The other question people were asking is trees. We've got 2 dead trees we're taking out. 2 homeowner requested trees that are kind of in the way, so it's nice that they're coming to us. And then I think we've got 2 other trees that are in the right of way that the homeowners, I don't believe there's been any. So tree wise, so we're not tearing out every tree along the way, which I think was a rumor that was going around. So other than 6 trees, the trees are safe. I think we talked the ADA. The trail north of the railroad, we're redoing the trail there. We're going to raise it up a little bit to get a little more of a ditch between the highway and the trail. Because right now the water just kind of runs across the road and then sits on it and it's all busted up. So we'll have a couple little beehives, so hopefully get the water off the trail, so the future trail will last longer.
And that's north of the railroad?
North of the railroad, correct. Hey, all right.
Leland, if you tell me what sheet you want, I can get to it, so I'm on DO1.
Let's just start here.
Okay, you
and
tell me,
then
tell me when you want me to thumb through it, okay?
Sounds good, thank you. So here's the south end of the project. You can see we've got Gary's on the top there, the bank at the bottom. In front of the bank, it's like full trail width, 8 feet. So you can see it coming up to the road, and then it'll continue to the north. The sidewalk on the west side will just match in. So yeah, next sheet. And there you can see the narrowing down there at Palisades. And where it's green, highlight green, that's like existing paving, which is now going to be green space.
Green, I'm sorry, say it again.
It's like, right now that's paved roadway, but we're narrowing it up. So now that's going to be new green space. So that's just what the green is. Then go to the next page. So you can see where the green kind of tapers out. And that's where the existing road is wide, and then it narrows down to that 26-foot width. So we're just keeping that 26-foot width heading to the south.
For the road itself, the road end easement?
Just the road.
26-foot width?
For the road. So the existing
Just
road
for the road or for the
26.
road end easement?
No, the existing road is 26, and then
Okay,
it's going back
you're going to
26.
maintain that?
Correct.
Is there going to be some sort of boulevard, or it looks to me like there's an expansion, if the yellow lines are correct.
On the previous sheet. So that's just painted marks.
Say again?
That's just painted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're putting in a larger, at Palisades, there's a larger divider. Am I correct?
Get my hand
That
raised,
yellow
point
line?
out. So the
Might not work.
that is not going to work. All right.
What do you need pointed at?
Choose a marker, we can wipe it off the screen.
So actually, let's go one more sheet to the north.
Laura, there's someone in the waiting room.
Oh, other way north.
No.
Other way north?
Yep. All right. So on the right side, see where it's just gray? That's the existing roadway width. So
Right.
it's going back right where it was. We're not touching any trees.
Okay.
We're not.
Are you going down to subgrade on that road?
So we're going down to, underneath that is about that much old pavement. So all that's coming out.
All that's coming out. So are you then going down to subgrade?
Yes, we're going down and then
All
we're
the way
going
down
to
to
build
subgrade.
the top. Correct.
And then you're going to come back up with your base, and your base is going to be
Rock.
rock,
And it'll be a
Crushed
drainable,
gravel.
so it'll be subdrained in there.
crushed gravel, and you're looking for proctor density in what area?
Yeah, so it'll all be compacted.
Yeah, I'm just
Yes.
asking what the density is going to be. What's going to be required by the state for density?
The state requires 95% proctor.
Okay.
So those are a lot of design details that, how about we stick to
Well, I
the
understand
bigger.
that, I'm just asking.
So
questions.
we'll go to the next sheet. All right, so we get to fourth, and that's where we have to do some intake repairs. It's really kind of an odd layout. It's diagonally going across the road. And sometime in the future, since this is the route to school, the discussion is maybe putting in traffic signals. And so we had to kind of reconfigure some of the storm also for that. So, and then there's the sanitary manhole right in the middle is in bad shape. So that's going to be replaced. So that's kind of the biggest chunk of utility work. Then you can see where we end, just there at third. Next sheet. So the piece from third to third south to third north, that's, all the sidewalks are gonna get replaced, it's gonna go back 5 foot. And then the driveways, some of the driveways, and we've got intake tops and patching. So, next page. And so at the top of the hill, you can see there's kind of a gap there. That was all redone, so we're not touching that. And as we come over the hill, there's a couple of downspouts on buildings. We're going to try to get those to go underground. Right now they're kind of dumping on the sidewalk. And next page. And then here we pick up again with the full reconstruction there at Third. Again, where the existing back of curb is and the existing back of sidewalks, it's going back to the same spot. Next page.
No, just a minute, I have a question on here if I could.
Yes.
This is for a neighbor that couldn't make it tonight. She lives across the road from me on Highway 1. Where the cement company is.
Mm-hmm. We're going to get to that page.
What?
We're going to get to that page.
Oh, okay, okay.
So here's Third. Everything's going back. We go to the next page. So yes, so the laser pointing won't work. So I believe you're referring to so we got the concrete on the right side, the 410. You see there. So you're referring to the house to the left.
I don't know, I got my cheaters on, so I'll just trust you and say okay. The question was, the field that was the old IH ground years ago, is that going to have a sidewalk all across there then? It's never had one, and half of her property doesn't have a sidewalk.
Right. So
are you going to connect and do a sidewalk?
Correct.
Okay.
So there's some intermittent pieces of sidewalks there.
Right.
And then, so we'll keep going on. So you can see, I'm going to step around here.
Please,
yeah. So the existing sidewalk ends here.
Yeah.
And then we have some other sidewalk over here that's in place. And then we got some at the next block. So yes, this would be new sidewalk to kind of connect that loop. This is actually city right away here.
Yes.
Right now, their driveway comes off the side and up.
Right.
So I'll get it shown just squared up, so more like a normal driveway.
Okay.
What address is that?
I think she's 410. 323 is right across, 321.
314.
And we're now on the south, the north part
Around
of
the
town.
north side.
North, correct.
I have a question on.
Yes.
We live at 601.
We're going to get there.
It is
601 Southwest.
southwest.
We're at the corner of Palisades.
Mhm.
Palisades and First.
Mhm.
Okay, when you're putting in a new sidewalk,
Yeah.
let me try to get the page for you.
There it is.
There it is.
I used to have one of those nice ones.
Okay. Putting in the new sidewalk.
So your
Is that
property
where
is
you
the
go
north
back?
side, your property is the top of the screen?
That's correct.
Next to the fire station?
601,
Yes,
yeah.
that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the only reason we have easements for your property is just so as the workers are doing their work, if they step onto your property, they don't get yelled at.
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about, there's a big hill that comes off.
Yes, we're not
Okay.
cutting into your hill.
You're not gonna get into the hill.
And we're not cutting into the hill.
Okay. That answers that.
Yep. There's very little impact on your property.
Okay.
Your driveway will get a little longer because the
Are you
piece-
digging out the
piece
driveway
right
there?
here is existing road, and so the road's narrowing slightly, so that's the only impact.
So what happens if, for instance, ours or somebody else's driveway, you go in and you lengthen it, shorten it? We just had our blacktop done 2.5, 3 years ago. That's gonna change, he did a swale at the bottom to draw the water away at the base.
So all of the driveways, like all of them, drain to the street.
But what are you gonna replace, like if you're cutting out, you said you cut out maybe a foot or elongate a foot.
So you
Are
see
you gonna
the gray area there? All the
Yeah.
gray is what's going back.
Are you gonna match up blacktop to blacktop? Is it gonna be cement? What's gonna happen there?
So everything that's touching the street's gonna be concrete, the sidewalk's concrete, and then whatever's on the back side, most of it's concrete, but if it's asphalt, it'll go back asphalt.
Okay, and you said that the sidewalk is going towards the street, not towards the houses?
Correct.
Okay.
Every one of them drains to the street, because I know, we'll get to that. There were some houses up on the north end that were having problems with water draining back to the garages.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, so let's go back to the north. All right, let's see. Orientation.
Do you want me to go to the
Yes,
next
this is
one?
perfect. So yeah, so here, the only change really is adding additional sidewalk to fill in those gaps. Next sheet.
My quick question for you then, if you, right across the road from there, 321, 323 is a duplex, okay?
Okay.
Before the duplex was built in '63, the Mount Vernon Coal Company was on that property. How deep are you gonna go for your sidewalk? Because there is
Oh, just
okay.
the sidewalk that's there.
There's a foundation just below the surface that will drive a lot of people nuts.
We'll find it.
Okay.
It'll be in the wrong spot, that's just guaranteed. Then, so here you can see we got this kind of intermediate pieces of sidewalk, and then the sidewalk connects here, so now you've got, you know, that sidewalk loop completed.
So then does the sidewalk stop there at 6th Street?
Yes.
And why? Or is it not going to continue on the,
Let's go to the next,
is that the east side of the street?
there we go. It doesn't, so, the DOT is paying to put, if there's existing sidewalk, they're paying to put it back. And then where there's pieces missing, but not doing like a new run, because if you get north of there on the east side, there's no sidewalk.
Yeah, it's
So-
just businesses that don't have sidewalk, that are concrete.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a small commercial area.
Yep. So that it's ending in the city.
Runs behind the properties.
The right-of-way area in front of back porch pickers, I know there's an area drain there and a lot of utilities.
Oh, yeah, the
And
big box ones.
And the grade's really steep, it'd be, I mean, you'd have to do a lot of work to get sidewalk through on that block anyway, so. There's still connectivity on the west side.
Yeah, and we'll have the crossing, sidewalk crossings there.
So there'll be a good crosswalk painted on to guide people to cross the street?
We'll have the ramps. Right now, we don't have the zebras or the rectangular continentals painted on there.
I think we were talking about doing that on like 7th, right? Possibly. The next block up, I guess.
Yes, so let's go to the next sheet. So there, we'll add a crossing here at Webster, and then there's a little gap here, and then you've got the park. So at some point, when you want to do that, that's just a nice simple boom. Now you got a nice full loop going around to the park. Then there's another crossing further north. And, okay, so this area, the houses on the west side, or the top of the page, the water, their driveway's all tipped back the wrong way. So all of those, they're flat, but they all tip, everything tips to the street. So you can kind of see, I've got the low point here, and you can, that's, we don't have much cover over the storm. But you can see where the new profile is lower than the existing. And so we managed to get all those driveways to drain to the street. So that was one of the problems identified early on that we're able to take care of.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I heard it's a 2-year project.
Correct,
And it's going to be done in two parts,
correct.
north and south. Where do you start, which starts first and
So
when?
we're gonna start on the north side because of that sewer
Okay.
issue. And so figure 27 will be the north side and 28 will be the south side.
South side.
I want to loop into her question. So when you start this project, and this project takes, the estimate is about how long? North and south? How?
So 2 years total. So 1 year for the north part, 1 year for the second one.
How
And when I
is
say
it,
year, that construction season.
got it. How is it determined how traffic flow through Mount Vernon will operate? I mean, lots of traffic north and south. How is that planned out? We've got schools.
So this is a highway project, so
Yeah, I
the
know,
official,
but you're coming through town, so.
right, so the official detour is highway to highway to highway, right? So that was the 30 to 151.
Yeah.
Internally, where I talked about, at the south end, with the phasing, we're gonna get 7th, Palisade 7th.
Yeah.
We'll get that one done first, so then that'll be open, so everybody can loop around there. And then on the north, can we go one more? Is that, yeah, Cass? So, at the very beginning, if we can knock that piece out right there, then that'll be open. Now, the DOT typically does not do more than one detour route. So the stuff internally in the city will have, like street closed, so you know you can't cross, but there will be no formal internal detour route.
So Highway 1 will be closed, sections of it, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
It has to physically be closed.
Oh, yeah.
I assume. Okay, and when you say the detour, is that detour coming up Palisades Road?
Detours going through the neighborhood.
So the
Be on Second Avenue.
the highway
Past Second
detour,
Avenue.
Yeah.
No?
I think, so there's going to be two. So logistically, whenever there's a highway project, the DOT will send to all the trucking firms, major logistics will get the highway to highway detour. Locally, we try to keep those intersections open so that they can make their way back through the community. Where we're going to hear complaints will be from individuals that don't, are not part of the logistics side of things, that are coming to the community and realizing that things are closed. But
And they'll be marked at the highways. If you're not on that newsletter list, you will still get a big orange thing saying, detour this way.
there will be no dead ends that you go down, you're like, there'll be a big sign before the turn, but all the side streets that cross, they'll be, closed. But there will be no other marked internal detour route.
Yeah, I mean, cars are gonna figure it out and ways around it. It's the semi-trucks that hopefully get the memo, and they'll end up going over Springville Road, and then they'll come down.
They'll go over to Lisbon and go up north.
Or First, because that's not gonna be closed, since they're not gonna do work, right, so we'll have our farm road there, which is a farm road for us, right past City Hall here, and those semis will be laboring to make those turns.
So there's going to be a segment of time that you're blocking off Main Street too then? Right, because off the intersection of Highway 1 and Main Street, you're going to have to block Highway 1.
First at the top of the,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, that one,
They're gonna stop the
third
bottom
is
of the
not.
hills.
yes, and we don't even have patching
I see.
in that piece. So we got patching on either side of it, but that will always,
That'll always do.
always, yeah.
And
Because that was redone with the signal project.
In the 90s on the north side, that hill was so steep, you kind of graded it,
Mhm.
which kept us from selling so much hot chocolate at the bottom of the hill in the winter to the truckers as little kids. But there won't be that kind of a thing. You're going to be
We're
down
not even
there.
reconstructing
You're going to be down
that
that far.
part. Yeah, we're at third to third,
Yeah,
so we're already at
yeah,
the bottom
so
of the hill.
In 90, it went smooth. Everybody gets worried this and that. It doesn't take much to go over a block.
Yeah,
There
will be some inconvenience because when they want to pave, and you have only one driveway connecting to Highway 1, there's going to be a time where you're going to have to park on a side street and walk. So if you know of people who have mobility issues, let us know so we can get those in the plans identified, and then we can try to work with that.
And that's part of the neighbor that's here, her husband right now is, got some issues, this and
Yeah.
that.
And that stuff we talked about, when we actually get a contractor, when it goes out to bid, contractors identified, we work with them on, hey.
And then just give her some peace of mind, which is, you were talking about that drive in Mount Vernon driveway down there.
Mhm.
Okay. Their driveway is odd shaped, it's all gravel. Now, is the first 5 foot of it or past the sidewalk gonna be cement then?
We go back to the second sheet for the north, I think it is. Yeah, right there.
Is it that
So it'll be paved from the street to the sidewalk, and obviously the sidewalk, and then there's a 4-foot strip on the back side of the sidewalk. So you can see right here, there's a little paved strip right behind,
Okay.
and then the rest of that would go back gravel. So whatever they have is what they get. We just put a buffer so that the sidewalk doesn't get damaged. Now, oftentimes, when the contractor's right there doing driveways, the homeowner can get a good price, and then they'll just finish paving it for them.
That's what I wanted,
With the
because
whole-
of this wheelchair to this and that, we've cemented from his garage this way,
Mhm.
and if you're gonna cement this way.
Yeah, there's just a little piece in the middle.
And we have the ready mix.
Yeah.
Right there.
We should get a great price.
You know, that's some of the concerns she had, and I decided to try to find out anyway.
Yep, so we can pay part of her driveway, but we can't do
I
it.
understand.
Question on this section as well.
My understanding, the street, is that the sidewalk is going to be attached directly to the curb?
No.
It is not. The same type of grass is going to be employed there?
So, for the most part, where the back of the sidewalk is right now,
Yeah.
is where the sidewalk's going. It's just gonna move a foot, widen a foot closer to, I tell you, can I get the lady back here who's been waiting quite patiently?
My question was about timing. I know you said you're starting on the north side here. I'm pretty sure my sewer line is what sparked this whole change plan. My question is, are you starting on the north part of the north side, or are you starting like?
So
south
we'll
part?
do the very north piece to Cass, so that we can get that kind of that detour route.
Okay.
And then they'll go in and until we get the contractor, the bid and get them identified, then we get their schedule, and then they'll kind of lay out how they're gonna pave it, so.
Okay, so it's unknown at this point where exactly that's.
Sometime in 2027.
Okay.
Yep.
So when the street on the south side is being done, we're not going to have any access to the street until paving is finalized, I'm assuming.
So we'll have, during the construction, there's times where the road will be removed, but they might have rock down, so you get some access to driveways. But yes, there's going to be large times when you're going to have to park off of Highway 1 and then walk. I mean, there's no way around it.
You won't be able to, number one. But number two, also, at that corner of Palisades, we have a pole there. You're pulling in the end of the sidewalk going into the street there, which is not there now. There's a pole there at the corner, at the juncture. So is that pole going to be moved?
That pole is not being moved. We have two others that have to be moved, but not that one.
Not that one.
Okay.
Shoot, I still got a mower around it?
I think there was another question back. Nope, all right. All right, let's go up to Cass. And that one we've met at this point, I think, with all the owners there. It's kind of the little industrial area, and I think we've got most of their concerns addressed. Let's go to the next sheet. And so there's the trail. We're shifting it slightly from its current location, and we're trying to improve some drainage through there. And then, ADA compliant, the blues are the landings, you get the rings that are something like that. Where there's a line of trees, and we're moving the trail a little bit away from that line of trees, so it shouldn't impact those. And then let's go one more sheet, and I think we made it to the end. And then we end at the trailer court there.
Leland, real quick, you said this is scheduled for a December bid, I believe.
Correct.
So we'll know
I think it's
somewhat
December
who the contractor is going to be.
17th?
Roughly 10%.
So yeah, we'll know the contract on the 17th. It takes about a month for the DOT contract process. So that gets us into January, so probably February would be earliest, like doing a pre-construction meeting. And then we know more on schedule and everything.
In knowing DOT projects, you have typically, I know you have more of a hard finish date for concrete. Is the expectation that
they would have that phase buttoned up, but the seating
is always a question?
So, yeah, so they'd throw down some temporary, but until the next seeding season, it wouldn't get finished. But they should have all the concrete buttoned up for that, like that north phase by the end of, or yeah, by December.
So realistically, for Mount Vernon citizens, we're probably looking at
March, April starting, correct. And the DOT will have the big message boards out, so there should be, everybody should be alerted on when everything's going to shut down, and then this will be DOT inspected, so they'll have full-time DOT staff there for the full construction. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have a question. I'm sure a lot of these people here that live on the highway know it, but in certain areas, when you come down where the school crossing is, right before that, on my side of town, same way you come down to my house, drainage things. I mean, that, and I don't know if that's to deal with the city also, but those intakes are not sufficient, or they're not, or it's not sloped right. So how, is that changing at all? I mean, will this construction change that?
So we're not adding storm sewer.
Okay.
But we are going to reconstruct the tops of all the intakes, and then like all of the driveways, yards, all of that should be improved to drain better.
Yeah, because I mean, I live on 5th, so there's an intake there.
Yeah.
But the next intake is not up until 3rd, the end of 2nd, right there. So that whole, that's 2 blocks where there's nothing. But that comes down that hill pretty fast.
Yep.
Same way on the other side. So that's what I'm looking at is that those huge puddles that wind up there.
So to answer your question, no. The older sections of the community use the street as your stormwater. So all the new construction, all the new subdivisions have pipes underneath. And the older sections of Mount Vernon, they use the street to basically control stormwater. So that's why you see flash flooding typically in the older sections of the community over the new. The unfortunate part is from, and I'm not an engineer, but the cost of trying to put pipe in the ground and take more stormwater would be more than what we could borrow at any one given time. So realistically, even with the reconstruction of the intakes, I just don't want to give anybody the impression that this is going to automatically fix.
No, but a lot of it has to do with the slope or the slant.
It'll be better. It will drain better. But when we get the heavy rains, those that live, especially on the south side, where it's going to still puddle there in high rain events. But I just wanted to point that out, like the cost of which would be something that the city just wouldn't be able to do.
And this whole system, you know, started out as an old, you know, rural 2-lane highway with ditches, and then got added and added and added, and at this point, it's, yeah, very.
And so everybody's aware too, the DOT, I think overall this project's 9 million.
You know, I don't recall the last, yeah.
I know the city is estimated to have about 2 million in the project itself. So DOT has like 75–80% of the overall cost of the project, and the city will cover the rest.
So a couple of years ago, when we were first talking about this, 2 or 3 years ago, there was some consideration of a turning lane on 6th Avenue North. Is that to the Skoglund residential addition? That is obviously not as part of this.
Correct.
So that is totally off the table.
Yeah, but if the city wanted to fund it, it could be added in, but.
So part of the challenge on that portion of it was outside of the temporary construction easements, there was an additional property that needed to be purchased. That presents a whole other challenge if you have to widen the right of way. And then we attempted to do the crossing, the school crossing on the south side, utilizing safe routes to school, but it gets really muddy trying to use grant funds with this project. So that will come separately.
But it is going to happen.
B&K is still doing the design work, and we will still submit an application for safe routes to work on that project. But that particular portion of the project could happen in the next 3 to 4 years versus while this is going on.
And so Eldon and his crew are still going to have to wheel out that stop sign?
The school does that, we do.
Oh, okay.
I got enough things to do.
The safe routes, is that a grant or is that a? So when you say it is going to happen, the grant application is going to happen. I think it's very important we all know that it's dependent upon receiving the grant.
And this project will help facilitate those next moves. So the connectivity of everything else later will, this project helps that.
At some point, you understand, okay, this is the project.
Yeah.
Yep.
Break an egg to have an omelet.
Are we still looking at a crossing possibly on the north side? Like Webster or 7th?
As far as like a dedicated crossing, like no.
Any other questions? No?
There's some other opportunities. Oh, go ahead, Sammy, you were saying something?
If you need to, if you don't feel like interrupting the group, I can, when we're all done here, I'll just step out in the hallway and I'll wait for a few minutes. I've got some plain sets with me. I can talk you through more if you'd like.
I do have a quick question. Where can we access these images, these plans? Is there a place we could?
Will these be included in the minutes for this meeting? Or?
So what we can do is we can save this PDF. If you go to the city's website under City Council, you have the drop-down menu where you can find the entire packet for this meeting.
Okay.
What we'll do is try to add it right next to this. It might say this date supplement, and then it'll be the PDF version of that. If you look at it at home, if you just zoom in, it's pretty detailed.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, Linn.
Thanks for working on this major project.
Thanks, Sam.
Communication side. You're welcome to stay longer if you want.
This is when it really gets cooking.
Item D, consent agenda. We have 2 items on the consent agenda. Second is approving 2-item consent agenda. Ready to vote on that? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item E1, public hearing for consideration of Old Orchard number 2, initial final plat, Charleston, Iowa. I'll officially open the public hearing now, if there's anybody here to speak to that. Steve's going to catch the door and staffing with anything to add?
No, planning and zoning reviewed this, voted in favor of recommending this subdivision. Really, if you look at this current layout, it's kind of a cleanup of a mixture of existing housing and cornell property. You'll notice that the major components of this is an easement off of lot 2 that accesses outlot A and B. The importance of that outlot terminology is that they're not buildable lots, and that is because their only access currently is off a private portion of Summit. Not to say that something in the future couldn't happen, but at some point, Summit, that private portion would have to be addressed because it's too narrow. Barely get emergency vehicle traffic down there, and it would be not responsible for snow removal. So, at some point in the future, should some of those changes happen, then those outlots could turn into lots. But otherwise, this is the best version of a subdivision plat that you can get for this portion of the property that Cornell owns.
I know it's unanimous, but planning and zoning lead, anything to add from the meeting? Any questions while we have planning and zoning here? Public hearing is open for another minute. Anybody else from the public wish to address this? Otherwise, at 7:46, I will close the public meeting and move on to item G4, which is a resolution. 8/17/2026D, approving the Old Orchard, second edition, final plat, in the city of Mount Vernon, Iowa. This is the resolution, and we've got a motion from Mark.
Second.
I'll give it to Shireen. Moved and seconded to approve that resolution.
Just a comment. Dave, Heidi? Dave?
Hi.
So what's going to happen to Jen Mears' house?
That's a good question. Cornell's going to continue to own that property.
Okay.
And I'm under contract to purchase what they call the Pelican House, or the white home. It was the old Niederhauser property that sits back.
Yep.
As well as the old orchard, original apple orchard. So I'm going to buy those two pieces under contract with Cornell. And Cornell still has the Geneva Mears house. I assume for sale?
Yeah.
Unsure.
So you know I was married in that apple orchard. So take good care of it. My marriage depends on it.
We'll have to.
No pressure, Dave. Don't worry about it.
And Tom was there.
Well, the elementary kids took tours of that apple orchard. Many times. Yes, I was there. We've got a resolution on the table. And are we ready to call the roll here? Marcia?
Turler?
Yes.
Hanson-Player?
Yes.
Engel?
Yes.
Andreessen?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
That resolution passes unanimously. I think we are on to item G1, resolution 8/17/2026A, approving the fiscal year 26-27 transfers. Any questions of staff this time?
I would move approval of resolution 8-17-2026A, approving the fiscal year 26-27 transfers of approximately $1.9 billion.
I have Craig and Paul on that one. Move second to move forward with resolution 8/17/2026A, and hearing no questions, we're ready to vote on that. Marcia, call the roll.
Andreessen?
Yes.
Turler?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Hanson-Player?
Yes.
Engel?
Yes.
That resolution passes. Moving to 8/17/2026B, accepting work with project known as the Rachel Street Improvement Project with Ratchet Construction. Getting close.
Final budget number is $1,289,302.83. There's obviously additional design work. Once this is approved, we will send the total for design and construction to kickstart. If you remember correctly, as part of the development agreement, they will pay 25% up to $450,000.
And that was this is, so 1.2, and that was off, and we had figured 2.4 or something, correct?
Yeah, the original estimate was 2.4 million.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I just wanted to say some good news.
I think Paul had a.
Did we have a motion yet?
I thought you started.
And I will second it.
Okay, Paul and Scott. Seconded to move forward with the Rachel Street Improvement Project. As a roll call vote, Marcia, call roll.
Engel,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Turler,
Yes.
Hanson Claire,
Yes.
Andreessen.
Yes.
That resolution passes unanimously. Moving to resolution 817, 2026C, accepting work for the project known as the 2025 Sidewalk Improvement Project with Modern Concrete.
Final contract amount was $157,403.78. This is the longest 4-year, 10-year project I've ever been a part of. I do want to give a shout out to Lee, though, who, after this project sat in hiatus for almost 3 or 4 years, was able to essentially do the other 3 quadrants in kind of one fell swoop. So going to give her a year or 2 off before we start talking about this project. Yeah,
And I do want to add one other thing as well, and harkening back to the DOT conversation. When Matt was first hired, I was chair of Parks and Rec, and we had a study conducted that looked at the trails and the sidewalks and everything in town. And they gave us a glowing review, except for portions, little chunks here, little chunks there that didn't complete that loop. And so a lot of the work that the DOT is doing along Highway 1, a lot of the work that Lee has done over the last several years to complete and improve some of those more interior trails and sidewalks all add to that walkability, the mobility within town. And it makes a huge difference. And it's something that our residents expect. So it's, none of these live kind of in a bubble. They're all part of a larger project that we've been working on slowly. So
Well, it's great that we get some of this infrastructure done before we start feeling the pinch from Des Moines, because then we won't have the money to be able to do this.
Yeah.
And I remember in the streets infrastructure committee meeting when I was mayor with Councilman Niederhauser and Councilmember Scott Peterson, and we decided to open this can of worms, so thank you for closing.
Goes back a long ways.
I'm not sure everybody here might not have been born yet.
with all of that, I would move approval of Resolution 817, 2026C for the 2025 sidewalk project.
Scott and Mark, move second to move forward. 817, 2026C. And before we go to the vote, much thanks to Lee for getting this, bringing it home. I know it from pre-COVID, so it's been in the works for a long time. Third person in that position to get this finished. Ready to call the roll. Marcia?
Rose,
Yes.
Engel,
Yes.
Hanson Claire,
Yes.
Andreessen,
Yes.
Turler.
Yes.
Resolution passes unanimously. Thank you. Resolution 817, 2026E, changing the name of a street currently designated as a proposed street to Manish Avenue in the city of Mount Vernon, Iowa.
Listen, I have done with my staff for the last 2 weeks, and they're gonna order some proposed street names, like signs, and we put them up. I do remember, normally we allow developers to choose street names, and then we review them as part of the planning process. When this plat was going through, because of the construction of CHI's housing, it was a rather quick turnaround. And we did remember that, or we did say that we were gonna go back in and make sure we got the name once they gave it to us, and we just never did. So it does show up as proposed street on Linn County maps. So this resolution will correct that.
That name is,
Yeah, but Google Maps is destroyed.
It looks like a fun list that Marcia gets to call.
I correct Google Maps all the time.
I would move approval of resolution 8.17-2026E, changing the name of the street currently designated as proposed street to Minish Avenue in the city of Mount Vernon.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Paul Shreen, moved and seconded to move forth 8/17/2026E. Any other questions or comments? The name of that street is actually the maiden name of the, not grandmother, but great-grandmother, matriarch, who was a citizen of this family. It's the Stoner, original Jean Stoner.
Oh, neat.
So that's, she was a Minesh.
And Rachel Street and all
And
of
that was
those are,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they should hurry and make proposed street t-shirts before it's
Yeah, can we do proposed?
Ready for vote, yeah.
Turler,
Yes.
Hanson, Player,
Yes.
Stingle,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Rose.
yes.
That resolution passes. Moving to motion for approval. We've got claims list from Marcia this afternoon. Any questions that can pull off of that?
I'd move approval of the claims list.
Second. Craig and Paul, moved and seconded to approve the claims list. Ready to vote on that?
I just had a quick question, I'm sorry, just while I was looking at it. Yeah, how's the mowing go? Just that's all I was wondering. Everything good so far?
I think everything's going well, yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, sorry, just, I was like to pick one sometimes. No. See how it's going.
Any other questions? This is a voice vote. If you're ready to approve that list of claims, if all ready to vote, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Session consideration of moving to Monday, September 7th, city council meeting, to a Tuesday or Wednesday. What is the will of the council here?
Wednesday, please?
Okay, Craig's got choir.
I got
Doesn't
choir.
have to go to Wednesday.
I normally just go Wednesday, but I did that once, and then somebody asked me why we always go to Wednesday, and I'm like, that's what we've historically chosen. So we've done, in the 10.5 years I've been here, we've done Tuesday twice. All others have been on Wednesday.
I would propose moving it to Wednesday, September 9th at 6:30.
Moved and seconded.
I'll be in Des Moines, but I should be able to zoom in.
Motion on the floor to move that September meeting to September 6th. I'm sorry. Well, the 9th at 6:30. And if you're ready to vote on that motion, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to discussion consideration of the application number 9 with Reconstruction on the Rachel Street Improvement Project. Council action as needed.
Payouts in the amount of $110,805.94. This represents the last pay application prior to the change.
I move approval, pay application 9, Rafferty Construction.
Thank you, Paul. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Seconded to move forward with the application number 9 with Reconstruction. And if we're ready to vote on that, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. Discussion consideration of purchasing replacement equipment for the LBC. Council action as needed. Mr. Siders is here. We got a report from him as well.
I had a discussion with staff. Please keep in mind that LBC purchases are coming out of local office sales tax. So one of the things, for those that were not on the council when we constructed the LBC is the financing for that project was very deliberate. We utilized tax increment financing to pay basically what amounts to 95% of the bond payments. Even though we had local option sales tax earmarked towards the community center, my thought was, knowing that these facilities tend to lose money, is leaving that sales tax in place for cost overruns and then equipment replacement. It's so far worked swimmingly, and I believe that, given the current situation, depending on what we have to replace at the LDC, that money should stay in place. At the current rate, it'll stay in place until 2040, at which time a council at some point in the future is going to have to make another determination. But the
Sure,
equipment
Matt will give them good counsel at that time.
The cardio equipment changes the is
3 years.
the
Strength.
I guess the popularity, I should say, of those individual pieces of equipment changes really fast, probably as quick as they run out. So we lease all of the cardio, but we bought the free rates. There are some of these things on here that if we were in a money pinch, we probably would be purchasing. But given the fact that we do have funding and we want to make sure that I get compliments about the LBC, how it's run, the cleanliness, all of the things, how it stays modern. It doesn't look like some of the other facilities. And this is one of those purchases where we're probably right on the cusp. We could do this anywhere from 7 to 10 years. But if we get on a 7-year replacement cycle, that will get us to the end of when we actually are capturing local option sales tax. And then, like I said, at some point in the future, they'll have to decide what they want to do moving forward. But what we're recommending is a purchase of approximately $21,027.
And I didn't do the math, Matt. Does that cover the various items in here, the dumbbells and the...
Yeah, everything,
Okay.
21,000 covers everything that's in this package.
The air hockey?
And I went to the Parks and Rec meeting last week. Thanks again for having me. It was very, very informative. I was very impressed with the work they did. And yeah, just going through and walking through, looking at these are necessary things. The 7-year plan seems pretty sound to me. I think it's a great plan.
And to piggyback off of what Chris said about compliments, I actually took a little break from pickleball and had Sarah give me a tour of the new cardio equipment and everything that came in, and it's set up great. It's amazing. Technology continues to speed up over our lives in a way that I struggle with. I remember rotary phones. But it is truly a testament to the job that staff at the LBC does in maintaining the equipment, identifying issues quickly and getting them addressed. And with that, I would move approval of purchasing replacement equipment for the LBC.
Second.
Thank you, Paul. Mark. Seconded to move forward the create replacement equipment for the LBC. Thanks for your report on this, Matt. We're ready to vote on that. No other questions? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Discussion, consideration of purchasing a replacement Kubota, Public Works.
As I said in my report, this has become one of the most important pieces of equipment that we have in our public works arsenal because it does a lot of the trail clearing in the winter. Current Kubota, we can get a trade-in of approximately $11,574, and that would bring our purchase price down to $26,951 for the Kubota. Approximately 12,000 of that is a blade and an assault hopper. So
of the 27,000, approximately 12,000 is?
Correct. So when people look at this and go, well, what kind of Kubota are you purchasing? It's a Kubota plus all of the equipment that we use. Keep in mind that we use this heavily in Memorial Park in the summer. This is what we use to fill watering. watering the flowers and doing a number of other things, but the salt spreader and the blade are invaluable to us, especially because we are bringing on.
Well, the addition of this new Kubota, it'll have a Boss V plow on the front opposed to the Kubota plow. One of the issues we've had with that particular model that we have and how it's set up is kind of hard to explain. There's a configuration of buttons you have to push and hold to get a float on the plow. If you don't push those simultaneously, it's just down pressure. You can actually lift the front of the Kubota up with that. So we just continuously went through cutting edges on that thing, and they're not cheap. So in the wintertime, we're replacing a lot of that. And if you don't change the cutting edge soon enough, it wears into the moldboard, which then you have to replace more parts. The new plow, the Bosch plow setup is just like a truck. It's got a little handheld thing. It's going to be a lot better that way. The new Kubota has a lot more safety features on it, such as turn signals that we don't currently have on the one we have. I know that's been something that's been brought up here in the last year. That piece of equipment gets used continuously in the summer and the winter, so it's starting to see some wear and tear with the salt that we do on the trails with the snow removal too. So it's just hopefully we can upgrade that too.
How long have we had the current one?
We purchased that probably before COVID.
Yeah, it was before COVID. It was right after I started. So.
Probably about 8 years.
And then the new one is expected to last, fingers crossed, about how long?
You know, it really comes down to usage. So I would expect, you know, the new Kubota to last another 8 years.
Okay.
We've also added a couple miles of trail and a few, so it depends on the number of hours that we put on it, but hopefully we get another, you know, at least 8 years out of the new model before we trade it in. And part of this is trading it in and getting a you know, $11,000 credit. We could probably keep going with this one a little bit longer until it starts breaking down.
Then you won't get that trade.
And won't get traded value, so.
Right.
And you've got additional costs of $300 a year, $300 a year.
Yeah.
I would move approval of purchasing a replacement Kubota for Public Works in the amount of $26,951.
I'll second it.
Craig and Shereen. Motion on the floor to approve the purchase of a replacement Kubota. And if we're ready to vote on that, all in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Carries. Use it wisely. Discussion and consideration of a service contract with Baker Group for the LVC.
Contract is in the amount of $9,768. This is something that we've done with Baker Group. For those that use the LVC, Baker Group is the one that worked on the air handling unit and the chirp room. So, it's something necessary. We don't have anybody on staff that has the knowledge and training of those large air handling units on the roof. We can troubleshoot, but just not.
Well, it's only like a 2.5% increase, 3% increase, you're right?
I move approval of extending the service contract with the Baker Group for the LVC, total of $9,768.
Second. Scott Paul, moved and seconded to move forward with the contract with Baker Group, service contract. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're set for a while, Matt.
Thank you.
Discussion consideration for commercial site plan review for C. Senior.
So, Lee has given or submitted a fairly detailed site plan review. C. Senior is basically trying to add some exterior seating. The memo right after the report from Lee outlines planning and zoning voted 4-0 in favor. Recommendation is, if you vote in favor, is to accept P&Z's recommendation of those modifications. So, nothing too crazy, just wanting to ensure that we maintain a business, but at the same time protect the integrity of our zoning code.
That's really, there was enough width there.
Yeah, but it's the only property that probably would allow it there. In that whole
Yeah, it's tight, but it works.
We're talking like 6 tables or 8 tables.
And there'll be some other hoops that they have to follow in order to get a liquor license extension out there. They'll have to do some things with state of Iowa, so.
Lee, was there talk of, one of the biggest things seemed to be not losing any permeable surface? And if I'm reading this correctly, they're going to build right over one portion of the permeable surface that is a part of that whole front apron. Was there talk of how that would be, or where that would be replaced?
Yes, so they are currently talking with the owners or the manager of Hardee's to identify some additional parking. I understand that they have something in writing. They called me today and said that they do. And so I don't know what the quantity of that is, but they'll have to identify enough parking to then remove approximately the equivalent of 2 parking spaces to make up that equivalent and maybe a little bit more. So trying to create some landscape spaces, and then they also agreed to put in some right-of-way trees. We always give the option for parcel owners to make that choice, whether they would like some trees along there. They've agreed to put a couple of those in, and then we'll put some bushes into the landscaped area as well.
Didn't even think about using Hardee's parking lot.
Yeah, there's got a lot of capacity on that site.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
I know the representative from CC here earlier, but he's not here now. But let's go to council.
I would move approval of affirming the plan with the notes from planning and zoning for the addition of outside seating and CC.
I'll second. Thank you, Scott. Move second to move forward the site plan review for CC North. If there are no other questions or comments, ready to vote on that? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and consideration of a rock wall inspection, LBC. Council action is needed.
The expected cost of this is $4,500. Matt and Sarah have done further research. We do have an individual from Iowa City that comes and changes the handholds, but is not necessarily licensed to complete inspections. So the recommendation is to hire Notera to complete the inspection, and then this would be an expense that would occur probably every 3 years. 3 years.
I would move approval of the rock wall inspection for the LDC for $4,500.
Making sure you do that. Okay. Move a second to approve the rock wall inspection with Volterra. Other questions or comments? Ready to vote on that? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Discussion.
I did not know that you could, until last week, that you could get in that wall. Like, I did not know there was a room to get behind the rock wall.
You don't want
You don't.
I got to see when
You end up there, something has gone wrong.
That's the main reason why we're doing this, is we don't know how the attachment from the wall to the actual steel beam is taking place and if it's still secure or not. So also the state has a recommendation of every 3 years getting the rock wall inspected if you use it for amusement purposes, which means people are paying to use it. So that's another reason for us to be adding this to the expense.
Wise decision. Next, discussion consideration of a letter of agreement between the Western Burrs Center and Linn County Emergency Management Agency for temporary relocation center. Council action is needed. This is anticipating.
So I was approached by Linn County EMA approximately a month ago. With the conversation centered around reopening Duane Arnold, Mount Vernon sits outside of the 10-minute response or immediate impact area. So the thought is if something or an emergency would occur at that location, they have to evacuate schools, nonprofits to areas outside of that, and then they would house them at the LBC until they can make contact with family members to come pick them up. So it's temporary in nature. It's not necessarily a permanent, but when Duane Arnold was open previously, we didn't have the LBC. So now that we do, they've asked that we be part of that network, and I've obviously agreed to make that happen, but this is the formal letter of agreement.
Is there going to be any trainings that need to be done regarding this? Is there anything that the city needs to do?
No, it's not really a training. This won't be handled by city staff. We're just simply providing the building.
Okay.
We won't be responsible for busing or doing anything of the nature. We will be represented if they do tabletop response, scenarios in anticipation of something, kind of a study diagram. But outside of that, like I said, we're hosting the building. We have a generator, so we kind of check all of their boxes. The Red Cross, I believe, would be the agency that would assist the county as far as feeding and all of those things. We just have to provide square footage, and so they have an idea of how many. The school already is as well, so it will be more of a complex situation on our campus.
Is the LBC already an evacuation center if we have our own disaster around here?
It is now. That was the basis behind adding the generator and applying for that grant. One of the things that came out of derecho was the issue of a larger area, larger communities being hit at the same time that we were and taking the majority of the resources, which I can't necessarily complain about. When Cedar Rapids was hit, they have a much larger need for individuals and apartments and different demographics. So what we determined was we need to be prepared to at least get people in, especially if we have an ice storm in the winter. So the generator allows us to heat and air condition that building, and then the small kitchenette would allow us to bring in food to serve. We do not own cots. We do not have certain pieces of equipment where this would become a long-term situation, but we did lose power for duration. Some portions of the community lost power for 5 or 6 days. So it would have been nice to have this then.
Well, and it adds, because the other locations are here, but then police and fire, and this adds a non-emergency based area of operations where we could house people without getting in the way of other folks who have a lot of other stuff to do. So this is one of those agreements we hope we never have to actually lean on, but I would move to approve the 28E between Linn County Emergency Management and Mount Vernon / the LBC.
Second.
Scott Mark, move the second to move forward this agreement. No other questions about it? We're ready to vote on it. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Reports to be received. Mount Vernon Police report. Days go okay?
Graduation week. So
you got some staff.
Yeah, we can couple back. That's good. We got a couple cars. So as in the report, you see that the K9 car was down. We have one on order, so that's about halfway done. So we're getting.
When does the K9 get driver's training?
I'd like to be there for that. We did get, it's not in here, but we did get the Monster Memorial finalized. and it is in place on the public entrance side of the thing. Yeah, it's on that.
Eldon had photos.
Yep. She submitted this before it was done. So,
Need the respect shown to all officers as well. Any questions, Chief, while he's here? Moving on to Public Works, Eldon, pictures.
I did get that 150 sold.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, for 2,300.
So when do you find out about this grant?
Tom brought it to our attention a few weeks ago. Maybe a month ago.
The app is done with it, or you and Joe are working on that?
Joe and I submitted it.
I took the picture, so it happened.
Last Friday.
Yeah. So you'll find out in the next 60 days?
I think it's due on the 17th, so I think we'll find out. Yeah.
How many trees with $50,000 bought?
16.
16?
Yeah.
That's it?
They're big ones. They're big ones.
We need a new tree.
So,
Madagascar.
no, they're 16 ash trees. Well, most of them are ash trees. Most of them are large and all require a crane.
And they gave me a great opportunity to actually go through town and get an inventory on what we have that we need to remove. Close to 59, 60 trees maybe. So then the question was, which ones do we take with this grant? Which I tried to prioritize those in the size and major thoroughfares where we can't really, I don't know. To double back, I need to talk about this DOT project, because two of the trees that we needed to get out of there are probably going to be a problem before that project starts, and I had them on the list down by Ace Hardware there. But
I would worry that's part of our portion of it, so if they are removed, it just
gotcha.
cuts $300,000 out.
But I tried to factor in, major thoroughfares where we wouldn't be able to block traffic or, or stop traffic to do stuff on our own. But the majority of those are large trees that we wouldn't be able to even try to attempt anyway. Every little bit's going to help.
Yeah,
sure. Replace it. So.
Tree City USA has a representative that's coming to the next sustainability meeting in about 3 weeks. That's new. I didn't know it. There was another Arbor Day, another Trees Forever type of group.
Yep.
But they are anxious to do something with Mount Vernon. We've got a local connection with boards in the area and so on. So maybe more trees coming. Anything else for Melbourne? Parks and Rec report.
Yeah, about that, yeah. I didn't send one.
I'm still looking.
I know, it's there, so.
The
Not a whole lot
refinishing
on
at the
it.
LBC is looking good.
Well, right, yeah, let's just add that, yes. Not a whole lot. Flag and football and soccer season start next week. Both diving boards were broke in the middle of July at the pool, and we've got one now. The other one, I'm not sure of where it's at, so.
But it's coming.
It's coming.
It's somewhere.
Yeah.
It'll get delivered after the dog's done.
Yeah. New pump is in, I'm not gonna go there with my, pump.
Not yet.
Yeah, I don't have a lot, other than what we talked about tonight.
You prepared that other really good
Right.
cost estimate report.
I don't want to take over the meeting, okay? It's not about us.
Man, it's short one board member, but I think I have someone in the cycle to hopefully have an application for approval here at the next meetings.
Hope so, yes.
Thank you, Parks and Rec. Full library report. Grace called me a couple days ago to say that she is receiving a grant, sustainability related, and she is on the agenda for a sustainability meeting in a couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, she, This is obviously their busy time getting ready for students to show up, so. I put her on the agenda in case she does, but I don't always count on a report, just given certain timeframes for her.
Nothing else in the library? Otherwise, July reconciliation. A lot of data there.
The only thing I want to say to that is it looks like you're spending God's money, but I want everybody to understand, you know, the city's had anywhere from 9 million down to a little under 5 million in the bank. It always gets prompted or propped up by borrowing. So when we go borrow and we get, you know, $2 or $3 million in the bank, it looks really good, and then all of a sudden we start doing projects, and we have 3 years in which to do that. So you could have 2 or 3 years where it looks like we're flush with cash. That doesn't necessarily mean that we are.
But it's earmarked.
Yeah. I do just want to, I always like to point that out because, you know, you look at that monthly and go, you know, how do we go from 7.6 million to, you know, 6.8? It's usually project-based.
Patronage.
Yes.
Other questions about this financial report? Moving on to the mayor's report, I mentioned 3 things. First of all, I did 2 thank yous to the Gazette for 2 articles. One was about the First Street Breakfast Company, Elijah Easius, I think, wrote that article. And I also extended an invitation, or I thanked Grace Nealon for the EMS article. That more than just a Mount Vernon election on September 1st, so I sent those 2 thank yous out. Had 2 requests for letters of support. One was about First Street Community Center grant, and also was one for Chameleons, for a project that they are working on there. And the third thing was an update on the presidential search at Cornell. They were looping us in less substantially in this. 600 surveys returned in. Francis Cow is working on the next iteration, and we're sure they'll keep communicating with us more. A lot of communication in March, April, May, none during the summer, as I'm sure the process is continuing. And she just contacted me today.
I just got an email from them.
Okay, so I don't know how far they're communicating, or if it's only people that fill out the surveys got it, I don't know, but I thought we should know about it. That's all I had. Any council reports?
I will be tuning in next time from the housing conference in Des Moines. So if anybody has anything housing related before I leave, feel free.
Zooming in on 2, right?
No, just that one. I'm mistaken.
Any other council reports, any committee reports? City manager report? Questions of Chris?
We do have the Main Street Iowa Economic Impact on the morning of September 2. That Zoom call.
Yeah, I just put a series of reminders in for this month.
So. Labor Day. Cornell families will be hitting town pretty soon. Classes start Monday at the school district. I'm telling people with classes at the LBC that 1 week from now, traffic patterns will change, especially if it's not done with the parking lot. So, anything else needs to come before this council?
Speaking of the traffic patterns, they did request a no parking between 5th Avenue and Commons Circle on First Street. So that will be coming during their move-in, which is Wednesday.
Temporary or
tomorrow?
Very temporary. Oh, tomorrow.
Tomorrow evening, actually.
Yeah.
Tomorrow evening to Wednesday night.
Yep. Sounds like you got a plan for it there.
Just so you know.
Anything else in this council at this time? Otherwise, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Lord.
Yeah.